Missed an episode of your favorite podcast? Choose from over a decade of content in our archives, not just the latest episode. All free at GCNlive.com.
This is your call to action. Get prepared, America. Economy, survival, energy, disasters. This is USAPrepares.com. Informative radio, educational radio. Interact now by emailing instructor@usaprepares.com or text at 434-390-7953. Class, please take your seats. Now, your instructor, Vincent Finelli.
Everyone all set? Cocked, locked, here we go. Your dial is set correctly to USA Prepares. Thank you for being in class with us today. For those new to the class, we broadcast 2 hours a day, 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. through 11 a.m. Central Time. We're available on YouTube, the Ron Gibson channel. Just type in USA Prepares. Thank you, Ron Gibson, for staying with us and being so loyal. And we certainly do appreciate you. And GCN, thank you for all that you do. Times are really, really serious, class. And if you need to go to some of our archives, just go to GCNlive.com, GCNlive.com, and you'll find USA Prepares. If you'd like to call us when we're live, we'll pay for the call, 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. Telephone listen line provided by Global Star is 712-770-9418, 712-770-9418. While we are live, you can listen on your telephone. It's 9 a.m. through 11 a.m. Central Time. Other than those times, you'll be listening to another broadcast on that listen line. Guineith Isaacs is with us live in Australia, and welcome, Guineith.
Hello, Vincent. How are you this morning?
I am, I'm just going to say it like it is. I am in panic mode, and I've heard a number of broadcasters say that you should not be you should not be panicking. Well, I've got to tell you, anyone who is not panicking is not paying attention. This is the worst crisis of our lifetime. This is it. This is the big one. I am not changing my tune. I am not wavering. I'm not modifying my statements. I've been saying the same thing for months now. This is it. This is the real deal. I'm talking about the corona panic. Now you're starting to see the word panic being used in the mainstream media. We're talking about, what was that?
Oh, you just dropped out for a moment.
Oh, okay. The mainstream media is now using the word panic in their description because they're saying people are panicking, and rightfully so. Their lives are upended. Anyone who doesn't understand this is not paying attention. And I am short of patience. You can tell in my voice that I'm short of patience. Not with you, Guineith, not with Jason, not with GCN. I'm short of patience with other broadcasters who want to talk about what the reason for this is, the political motivations and so forth. Be it as it may, you can die discussing who done it. And that's not where we should be. We should be at surviving it. This is the sum of all of your preparedness. This is what this is for. And I mentioned to my family that I believe that my entire life was in preparation for this time to teach and to share. And all of these years, we're teaching people what to do, how to do it, and many were too busy or otherwise occupied to do it. This is it. I believe this is why I'm here. And so, as a result of that, I've decided, and by the way, I have become more of a dictator.
Are you there?
Yes, we're here. It's on your end, Guineith. It's on your end. It's not here. I've become more of a dictator than someone interested in democracy at this point. Now, I'm not talking about the United States government corporation. I'm talking about my family. I'm talking about, having meetings and saying, look, we don't have a lot of time to discuss this, so I just, we can discuss it, but we don't have time right now. So here's what we're going to be doing. That's how I'm behaving. And it's not all that pleasant. And I've talked with family members, and I'm talking about blood relatives. I don't think they get it. I don't think they realize how serious this is. And I think they think there's plenty of time to get through it, and I don't think there is. So, Gwyneth, let me read this. So here's what I'd like to do, class. If I'm going to modify the format of USA Prepares, and the format will be one of information dissemination. So if you have something that you have learned that you think those who want to prepare and survive this corona panic, if you have information that is viable, it's correct, and you got it from a reasonably accurate source. I'm not talking about speculation. I'm not talking about, whodunit theories. I'm not interested in that. I am interested in what's happening where you are, or what you've learned, or your experiences that are absolutely bona fide. That's what we're interested in right now. So if you would like to share that information, you can give us a call, and we'll put you on the air immediately. I've got the call screen in front of me. And that number is 866-582-9933, 866-582-9933. I was talking with Peggy Gawley. She's a USA Prepares instructor. When you hear what's happening to her, you won't believe it. And I've asked her to tell you firsthand. I could tell you, but I'd like her to do it. Joanne, USA Prepares instructor Joanne, was on the air with Gordon West. We're talking about ham radio. Here's what she said in her email to a few broadcasters, I believe. It says, "Good morning, gents," as in gentlemen. "Reported by mainstream media this morning." Now, this is kind of like an all-points bulletin. Reported by mainstream media this morning. Corona in all 50 states. West Virginia reported their first confirmed case. Pennsylvania, 96 confirmed infections. New Jersey, 267 confirmed infections, 3 deaths. And Delaware, 16 confirmed cases. Police policy changes in Philadelphia. No arrest for violent crimes, but will be prosecuted. Courts closed until April 1st. Police taking reports over the phone rather than in person. Philadelphia set up a task force. In Philadelphia, there's a coronavirus task force setting up a response center in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Task Force 1 is a Task Force 1 of 28 groups FEMA can deploy to respond to disaster. Okay. Local Giant supermarkets. Now, Giant is a brand of supermarket. That's a corporate name. Local Giant supermarkets. First hour of operation for seniors, 60 plus only. Mass transit in Philadelphia area are cutting back on service to extensions, for example, to Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So what that means is going farther out from the city, they're cutting back on their service. Delaware Turnpike is not taking cash or credit cards, only Easy Pass, meaning you will be billed via photo of your license plate to the registered owner if you take the Delaware Turnpike. Archdiocese in Philadelphia limiting the size of congregation for baptism and funerals. Some churches have suspended all services until further notice. Let's see. Boscov's. I remember when I lived on the East Coast, was a catalog store. You'd look at the catalog, you'd figure out what you wanted, you'd go into the store, and you'd order it. Okay? And it wasn't like they had a lot of items. They might have one of each particular item. You could look at it, pick it up, put it back on the shelf, and say, that's the one I want. And they'd order it, and you'd pick it up later. Boscov's department store closed. Let's see. Learned yesterday that Denner's restaurant, privately owned in Pennsylvania, Bronx, Pennsylvania, is closed until further notice. Even discontinued carry-out option. Let's see. Okay, the key takeaways from Congresswoman, Delaware's Congresswoman Blunt, Rochester, placed a call to Delaware residents to provide an update on coronavirus. There were over almost 14,000 on the call. Delaware's doctor for the CDC on call to provide details. The key takeaway: shelter in place, social distancing, stay at home, look for delivery options. Vaccine under development will take 1 year or longer to deliver to public. Let's see, I'm reading this. Okay. So in the national news, the question is, are the feds taking control of the money supply? There was a post on Facebook yesterday in California area. Feds take control of food and trucking as grocers are unable to get food. My response is, God help us. Guineith?
That's pretty serious.
Uh-huh.
Hello?
Yes, it is. It's very serious, and that's from Joanne, USA Prepares
Hello?
Instructor. Yeah, we can hear you.
Me?
Yeah, we can hear you, Guineith. We got you.
Yeah, you keep dropping out.
Well, we're not dropping out. I think it's on your phone. What's happening in Australia?
Well, Qantas is slashing 90% of its flights. You know, that's our major national airline in this country. And probably, unless the government comes in and provides funding to keep it going, it's probably going to go broke by the end of May. And its subsidiary, which is its domestic subsidiary, which is Jetstar, they are cutting 60% of their flights. And, you know, that's most of the domestic air travel in Australia. And, you know, the vast majority of the international air travel is just being shut down. People are fighting in grocery stores in this country, in supermarkets. And it's got to the point once again where Woolworths supermarket in this country has once again decided it's going to open an hour earlier, and the only people who are allowed to shop in that early hour are old age pensioners and disabled people, because it's so bad. As soon as they have a load of food or whatever comes in on the trucks, they put it on the shelves, and the people are like locusts. They just strip the shelves of staples, toilet paper, anything that they think they need in that shop is just gone within minutes, because people are just, you know, they're just grabbing anything. They really are panicking at this point. And, you know, it's really funny because I was in Big W about 3 weeks ago, and I said to the chair, I was doing my buying up at that stage, you know, 3, 4, and 5 weeks ago, filling my cupboards at that stage, and I said, you know, I had my trolley loaded with staples and all sorts of stuff, and I said to the lady at the checkout, I said, is there anybody else stocking up on staples? And she said, no, not even one. And I said, well, I got the impression that she thought I must have been a bit crazy. I don't think she thinks I'm crazy anymore.
Okay, hold that thought. Guineith and I will be right back. I'm speechless. You know, what I'm witnessing is unbelievable. I'm witnessing the GDP at their absolute finest. I'm witnessing people who absolutely refuse to pay attention. I can't believe it. I'm witnessing people saying, you know what, I'm just going to live my life. The carelessness, the recklessness, the me first of these times is just beyond belief. I was thinking about the first Great Depression and how people were lined up in their suits, and they had their, literally their suits, you know, church and funeral suits, and they were lined up at the soup lines on the sidewalk to eat, and nobody pushed and cut in line. Everybody was respectful, and that's not That's not where we are today, and I want you all to be prepared for exactly that. Let's try this and see if it works. We've got Guineith on with us. David in Illinois. David, welcome.
How you doing, Vincent?
It's working great. Okay, I was just talking with Jason, and we were having a problem with taking calls this way. But yes, go ahead, David.
I had some things I was going to mention. I hope you don't mind that I'm mentioning. Now, I just tried to put in a ride to go to Aldi's tomorrow morning, and I just got notified that our services, travel services, may be shut down at any minute. They don't know if
David,
yes.
This is exactly the kind of information that I was talking about when I said I was going to I am modifying our format for updates like what you just said. Please continue.
We did go out yesterday. We went to the Chinese outlet. I wanted to see because I heard there was reports that they were going to ban ammo sales. As of yesterday, they weren't, so I cleared out 22 mags, 308 stuff that I use. I don't know what it's going to happen with that, but one thing I noticed that I was surprised at the stores, at the Chinese outlet. They had a lot of canned goods. All the alcohol was gone. All the cheap, like, little quick, packet noodle thing, products like that were gone. And I'm like, why? None of the fruit, none of the vegetables, none of the canned goods. And I'm like, do these people realize what they're doing? But you're going to chain in house everybody and you're letting them buy and clear out the alcohol?
There's only one good use for alcohol that I can think of, and that is as a disinfectant, and that's also to make a tincture. Okay, and I'm talking about vodka, 80 proof or so. Anything else? We've got Peggy in Missouri on hold.
The only other thing I was going to say is we have young people that are purposely out there trying to get sick, and they think it's a joke. And you have Iran, they won't talk, and people think this is a joke. And the satellite reports came out, they're digging mass graves. So this is serious.
Yeah.
This is serious. So I'll let you get on with your other individual calling. So,
David, thank you very much, and may God help us. I'm serious.
It can get bad. I mean, we have plenty, but I'm taking every opportunity to get more.
David, one last thing. This is my opinion, that when this is over, maybe even before it's over, people who have lost their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, people they're close to, grandparents, when they are killed by reckless behavior of others, and let's say the reckless behavior of those people survive, but they infect family members, I believe that there will be violence inflicted on them. I believe it's going to happen. Yes.
Can I make one other comment really quick? Now, sure. We have a lot of people in China, these children in Asian countries are doing fine. Our youth is not healthy. And they came out and said, look, there's young people with no conditions that are in intensive care. Most of our youth are not healthy.
Right, and they say that it can't be transmitted from mother to child, and that's not true either, because a newborn had it. David, thank you. Guineith Isaacs is with us live in Australia, and we've got some breaking information. Peggy Gawley is going to be with us in just a few seconds. Yesterday, this is moving fast, class. Yesterday, the president said that we would keep the border open between the United States and Canada. This morning, it's closed. This is moving very fast. You can't believe anything that you hear for long-term decision-making. You can't. Peggy Gawley, welcome. You're on with Guineith Isaacs and me. What's happening? Peggy, are you there?
I'm sorry. It cut out. Hi. Well, I'm
Hey.
bunkered down in my apartment. It's been, we recently had a very serious thing happen here in Springfield, Missouri. I don't know if you talked about it at all, but a police officer was shot and killed, and it happened Sunday night. It was all over the news. I am under lockdown as of Monday at noon, but Monday morning, leaving my apartment, I saw two police officers. Long story short, the building in which I live, the shooter just happened to live a couple doors down from me. And so this has been, I'm going through a little bit of PTSD after this, but Vincent, you have taught me for the last few years how important it is to prepare for things. And if it wouldn't have been for some of your key points that you told me, I wouldn't be able to be locked down like I am now. And do I feel safe? No. But I am not going anywhere. I'm not answering the door. I'm not taking, it's just, I'm on a third floor apartment. There's 4 flights of stairs. So it's, it's scary. As a Medicare advisor, I'm concerned about seniors right now. Seniors need to stay at home for sure. I know President Trump or CMS just is providing telehealth where you can call in from home. And I'm not trying to talk about Medicare today. I want to talk about what we talked about in the last couple of days, try to protect yourself. People are not paying attention, and they think this is, it's especially the younger people. It's not serious. And every single person that stays home can save thousands of lives. That's the way I look at it. Do you agree?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was a family in St. Louis, and one of the children came back from abroad, infected the family. The whole family was diagnosed as having coronavirus. They self-quarantined. They stayed at home. Everything was good until the father-daughter dance. And the father and daughter, the other daughter, decided to go to the dance, and they, in turn, infected 1,000 people. Now, those 1,000 people have probably infected 5,000 or 10,000 more people. Now, that hasn't made the news yet, but I'm pretty sure it will. So what's happening is the carelessness and the recklessness.
That's tragic.
It is. Well, Guineith,
it could
you
have
and
totally
I,
been avoided.
absolutely, because of the selfishness, the me first, the I want it now mentality of these stupid people. And when I talk about the GDP, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the generally dumb public. And those bozos are going to get a lot of the rest of us killed. And I resent it. And I'm furious about it. And I'm telling you that in the future, Lucille is going to come out and take care of business. And I'm not advocating it. I just know it's going to happen. You're going to find people who have been reckless with their lives and have infected and gotten other people killed. The family members that are surviving will probably beat the tar and life out of those careless, reckless people. How would you like it if one of your family members was infected by a stupid neighbor? In fact, one of your stupid neighbors, Peggy, got 4 people killed. And the shots were fired in Springfield, Missouri, across the street from Dr. Shealy's office, and shots went through his windows in his clinic. Literally. No exaggeration. Literally.
You cannot trust anyone. I mean, I'm a very trusting person. I always have been. But as we've said, you just really have to. I mean, this particular person, I actually encountered him not recently, but he lived a few doors down. And so you really have to be circumspect because, as people start losing the ability, well, we're locked down, people are going to get anxious and they're going to start. I just think it's going to escalate to where people are going to have a lot of mental issues and stress. And like that particular guy, the shooter, he just had a speeding ticket. What prompted him to go out and just start shooting people? You know, it was just a simple speeding ticket. So people need to just stay home. And, you know, the restaurants, they're saying drive-thrus are okay. They're not okay. It's not okay to get out and do anything.
Okay, so going to the restaurant is not okay because people who work at restaurants, you don't know where they've been. You don't know what they've done. You don't know the partying they've done. You just don't know. So the food is suspect. So class, no restaurants, no takeout, no deliveries, no taxi cabs, no Uber. You have to stay home. It's as simple as that. You have to stay home. And as far as this one guy who used to be your neighbor, he got a speeding ticket, and because of that, he and 4 others are dead. This is Monday. He and 4 others are dead. The clerk at the store, I believe, at the gas station, you know, the stop and rob place, it's called Come and Go. Affectionately in Missouri, we call those places stop and robs because you stop there and you overpay for, you know, a soda or something like that. So an employee was killed. 2 customers were killed. A cop was killed, and this guy was killed. As a result
By the way, this is so close to home for me because both the police officer and the Come and Go employee went to the same high school I did. Same high school. We're going to find, Peggy, we're going to find more and more of these close relationships because it's as simple as this. So USA Prepares, our family, our extended USA Prepares family. You're in it, Norm's in it, Gwyneth's in it, you know, John Reagan, a whole bunch of us. So there are two who were involved in this thing that happened, this shootout with the police. And we're going to find that more and more of us are involved. Peggy, I want to thank you for calling in. Is there anything else you want to share with us? I just want to share that if you're over, especially, I care so much about my seniors. If you're, you know, over 50, over 55, 60, and you have any underlying health issues, I want to just mention quickly, if you have prescriptions that you need to take, call your drug plan in and get a 90-day supply. Even if they tell you you can only have a 30-day supply, I think with things that are going on right now, I think that there's a lot of, as we know, Vincent, things are changing every day. My concern is, you know, people need their medicines because we know that can happen too. We've talked about that. So I appreciate you letting me share today. This is so close to home for me, and so I just encourage everyone to, you know, listen to what Vincent has. I'm going to be tuning in, you know, all the time because every day things are changing, and we need to really pay attention to what Vincent has to share because it's so beneficial, and I appreciate you very much.
Peggy Gawley, thank you. Peggy Gawley is a USA Prepares instructor, and she talks about Medicare insurance and how to get the right insurance without wasting money. Peggy, thanks for being with us.
God bless you all. Thank you.
God bless you. Guineith, there you have it. So there was a shooting just in Springfield, and 5 are dead. And class, one takeaway from this is this may happen to your village. You know, people are losing their patience, they're losing their tempers, they're losing their jobs, they're broke, they're hungry, their wives and spouses and husbands and family are, you know, tempers are flaring. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Now, this is the social aspect of the corona panic. That's what we're talking about. Guineith?
Yeah, I would definitely agree. Gerald Celente, he says when people have nothing left to lose, then they lose it. And Winston Churchill said, people with full stomachs don't riot. And I think that there's going to be a lot of empty stomachs out there. And the thing is that, you know, back in the 1950s and 1960s, people actually had respect for the police. They actually thought the policemen were kind of good guys. They don't have that sort of respect anymore. And I think that in this corona panic, there's a lot of people who are going to be thinking, well, I'll probably die soon anyway, so, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out and I'm not advising this, by the way. I can just see this psychically happening, okay? That they're going to say to themselves, I'm going to go out and take a few members of the blue team out with me because I know that I have this deadly virus. I don't know, maybe they'll just circulate with them. Go out and, shake their hand. Or something. Oh, my gosh. The reason why I'm laughing is that I can see this coming from so far away. I've been speaking about this for the last 6 or 7 weeks, haven't I, Vincent? It's just,
yes, we have.
Why can't... I'm actually glad that people are now starting to see it. Mm-hmm. But what I'm seeing coming next is truly apocalyptic. It really is. And I know that I wrote in the email to you earlier that, when this is all over, we're not going to be back in the 1700s or 1800s. We're not even going to be back in the Stone Age. We're going to have a new era of history, which is going to be something like a Mad Max world. And that Mad Max world is going to last for about the next 10 years. Okay? The next 2 or 3 years are going to be particularly nasty because people don't know how to do anything anymore. They don't know how, people literally do not know how to tie their own shoelaces anymore. You go out to a shoe shop and there's actually shoes in the shoe shop with elasticated laces for people who don't know how to tie shoelaces. I don't know if you've seen them, Vincent, but for me, that's gobsmacking. That's
Guineith, these look like sneakers with shoelaces all tied up, but they're elastic shoelaces, and all you do is you slip these on. They're not sneakers. They're slippers that look like sneakers. They are for the GDP. Because, heck, you don't even have to learn how to tie your shoes. I learned how to tie my shoes when I was pretty young, and I still know how to do it. We'll be right back. Class, I've issued some homework assignments over the years, and they are the 1975 Survivors series on BBC, Survivors, Survivors, Jericho, the series, The Walking Dead, the series, and Fear the Walking Dead, the series. Those are four series that would really have helped your chance for survival had you watched them. If you have watched them.
And The Stand.
And The Stand. That's correct.
Yep.
Had you watched them, you would be in a better position to go forward. I am not kidding. I was getting fuel in the last couple of weeks in a metal tank. They used to make gas cans out of shaped steel. That's the way gas cans in the 1950s and 1960s and before were all made out of steel, galvanized steel, and they had screw-on caps. And that's before we learned that plastic was so cheap. Well, we have some old things here, and I was putting some fuel in a steel tank, steel container. And there's fumes coming out from this. And I saw a perfect example, the billboard poster girl for the GDP. She came out of the gas station, and she's got her pocketbook, she's got her cell phone, she's chatting idle, stupid chat. And I looked, and I thought, I know what this gal's going to do. She's going to go into her pocketbook, she's going to put down her cell phone, she's going to pull out a pack of cigarettes, and she's going to light up right here.
It's the cigarette.
Yeah, that's what she did. So I saw this happening, and we were putting fuel in one of these cans, and I said, "You're not going to light that up, are you?" She flicks her lighter, lights it up. And I said, there's a sign right there, right in front of you that says no smoking. She's an employee of this place. She lights it up.
You've got to be kidding me.
No, I'm not. And she didn't give me the finger, but she just might as well have. And she said, I'm leaving. So I'm going to light up. I'm going to do what I want. I don't care about anything. You know, I'm important. That's the insanity that I'm talking about. That's where we are.
You know something? If I was the owner of that gas station, I would sack her immediately for doing that.
Yeah.
Because her carelessness could have blown up the whole gas station.
This gal was about, 10 to 15 feet away at the most.
That's
And
not
this
far.
gal, this was shift change for the GDP. That's what this was, shift change. So she was leaving her shift. So you can't tell me that the gas pump's right outside the front door of the Stop and Rob. She hasn't seen the sign that says no smoking. Everybody knows no smoking around gasoline. Everybody knows it. But this is like flagrant disregard for protocol, and that's where we are headed. Actually, we're in it. We're in it. The me-firsters, the people who will cut you off, the people who will push you out of the way because they deserve, in their own minds, to do whatever they want to do. I'm telling you, class, you're going to find out that as we continue this lockdown, those young people who are in your family are going to go ballistic. They're going to be out of control because they are going to be locked down and they're not going to be able to do what they want to do when they want to do it because they want to do it. They're going to go ballistic. And I don't know how to fix this. I don't know how to fix stupid. I don't know how to fix the years and years and years of programming by the public training camps that have told your children that if you have a problem and there's some escalated voices in your house, make sure you call 911, get the police over there. So if mommy and daddy are having an argument, make sure you call the police. That's what your children have been told. And that's going to make it worse. Because somebody in the family is probably making some kind of sense. And the other member of the family probably isn't understanding it. And that's why voices are escalated. This is the sum of all of our fears right here, right now. And this is speculation on my part, but I believe, and I've mentioned it to a number of our instructors on private conversations, I do not want to cause a panic. This is speculation. I believe that there will be travel restrictions, and I would believe that there will be restrictions for fuel. I believe that's coming. Because the people who run the refineries, they're going to get sick, and they're not going to be able to go there. So those key people, those older people who know how to do things, they're going to get sick. And when they don't show up for work, the young people are going to go, I don't know, Charlie used to tell us what to do. I don't know what to do. That's what's going to happen. The truck drivers are going to get sick. The people who operate the terminals are going to get sick. The people who make the additives for the fuel are going to get sick. I believe that fuel is going to be dear, meaning in short supply. I believe it's coming, but that's just my thoughts. Do what you want with that information. Everyone all set, cocked, locked, hour number 2 of USA Prepares class. I believe that USA Prepares is the longest running 5-day-a-week, 2-hour-a-day broadcast on the subject of preparedness. I believe it is. And we've modified our format for the corona panic such that you may call in with information that you have that you'd like to share. David in Illinois has already done that this morning. Peggy Gawley in Missouri has done that this morning. Guineith does it. That's what we do anyway, but you're invited to, if you have information to share, to join us. Here's some information that I just found out. And because I'm preparedness-minded, I expect things like this to happen, but I don't like it when they do. So I asked my wife to call my pulmonologist's office. They're closed for 2 weeks. Now, if you think that you can depend on others, you may not find that that is the case. So do I want my insurance representative to go play golf? No, because if I need him, I need him, and I don't want him playing golf. I really would like it if my doctor had regular hours and was here, but he may be sick. He's a pulmonologist. He may have it. I don't know. I'm not speculating. I'm just saying these are possibilities. Or he may be with family. He is Asian, so he's probably really concerned about his own family. Here's something else. Menards. Joey sent me this. Joey in Michigan, USA prepares instructor, sent me that Menards headlines. This is fox2detroit.com. Michigan Attorney General sends cease and desist letter to Menards, the big box store Menards, over price gouging. They've received 18 complaints from customers or consumers alleging face mask, bleach, and other products have been marked up, despite the Attorney General restricting retailers from this practice. Now, it goes on to say that bleach is normally $2.54 and now $4.99. So it's doubled in price. Okay. And so some people are really disappointed in Menards. Now, here's my take on this. What do you do? Well, if you need it, you can buy it. Okay? And then what you do, and you use a credit card. And then what you do is you call your credit card company and you file a dispute. And you say, this is illegal, this is price gouging. And that will cost Menards $35 because you made that call. And they're going to have to debate that with you. Now, Menards is probably not going to spend the time to fight with you over that $2.50 roughly of the doubling of the price for the bleach. So you're going to win, and you're going to get the money back. That's what you do. Now, you may lose. But I don't think so. I think you're going to win these, and if enough of us do it, companies like Menards will knock it off. They'll knock it off. Now, Menards is having a lot of trouble anyway, getting supplies, and they're doing what capitalist organizations do. They want to make money, and that's how they're measured, by how much money they make. Well, I find that offensive that they're doing that, and in my world, when someone, during the 1973 Arab oil embargo and gas went way up, I noticed who was gouging customers, and I never went back there. Never. And those businesses end up usually failing because of the gouging tactics during they make short-term gains, and it hurts them in the long run. So just a few thoughts. Guineith?
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. And I think that, I don't know Mr. Menard Sr., but I'd say that you can generally judge people by how their children turn out. And we've got a nickname for Paul Menard around here. We call him Mr. Clip and Flip. So,
you're talking about the race car wannabe, right?
Yeah. Can't win a race, honestly, so he just, does something that's likely to kill the other driver. But we're not talking about that particularly today. I would like to give some information. I got this information off the Alex Jones show yesterday. And Alex Jones was taking a holiday in a particular small town just outside of Texas. And he came on the radio and he said that he had to leave that small town immediately because his staff informed him that the police were in the process of setting up roadblocks on this small town, which was just out of Texas. For his own safety, he didn't disclose his location. But it seems that they're beginning to cordon off towns in Texas. So, and he made some inquiries, and he found out that their objective was to basically lock down Austin, which of course is the state capital of Texas. So they are beginning to lock down towns. The blue team are beginning to, in Texas, lock down towns, for the purposes apparently of quarantine. But this is going to destroy the economy.
It will. It will destroy the economy, and
People
our
will
secretary.
starve.
Yeah, our Secretary of the Treasury said, there's no recession today. Now he's saying, looks like this is like 2 days ago. No recession. That's not possible. Now, and we challenged him on that, and we said, no. It's not like there's no recession possibility. We are already in the second Great Depression. That's what I said. Those are my words. We are already in the second Great Depression. And now they're saying, well, we're going to probably have 1 out of 5 lose his or her job. Now, the first Great Depression, about 25% were unemployed. Now, we can't believe anything the government tells us. So when they tell us there's 5% unemployment, that's a lie. There are a lot of people, there are people working 2 and 3 jobs because one won't make it. One job's not enough. So people are working 2 and 3 jobs, and they say there's about 5% unemployment, and the economy is really roaring. That's nonsense. So when the government says 1 in 5 or 20% will lose their jobs, that really means like 50% will lose their jobs, because really people are going. Peggy Gawley, who was on the air with us this morning, she called in. What she did not say is her company moved her from her office, where I used to be able to go to visit her whenever I felt like it. Whenever I had an appointment, I could drop in and say hi whenever I felt like it if she was there, and stick my head in and say, hey, Peggy, just want to say hi, see you, bye. Or I could make an appointment and visit with her in her office. I could do that. She doesn't have an office anymore that's viable because they closed down access. She's working from home. No one's going into her home. She's at the end of a computer and a telephone. That's what's happening across America. Anybody who can is being told to go home and work from home. I'm talking about bankers. I'm talking about realtors. I'm talking about anybody who does not have to physically be there all the time. They're going home. Now, pretty soon, the companies are going to say, you know what, we're not doing so much business anymore because people aren't buying what we have to sell. Services. They're not buying services so much. So people are going to get laid off from that too. That's where this is going. So we're headed toward, I believe, 50% unemployment. I believe that people are going to lose their jobs. They're going to not be able to pay their mortgages, their credit card bills, their car payments. There's going to be a glut of cars on the market. And it's going to be tough to get gas. I mean, everything is in collapse mode as I see it. I don't see anything good. There is no good news as I see it. None. Let me give you an example. I'm just going to read some headlines. Australia prepares a second stimulus package. Canada closes its borders to foreign travelers. New York State closes schools for 2 weeks. The Dutch Prime Minister says experts believe most citizens will catch the virus. Most. House leaders postpone return to Washington indefinitely. U.S. airports seek $10 billion in government assistance. Trump tweets will powerfully support industries like airlines. Major League Baseball, opening day indefinitely delayed. New Jersey reports 80% jump in infected people. Italy reported another 3,000 plus cases. France orders people to stay home for 15 days. CDC says employee tested positive. The White House released new national guidelines to stop the virus. San Francisco earmarks $10 million for those who miss work due to the outbreak. Maryland governor bars utilities from turning off service for non-payment. See, that's another thing that's coming. Water, utility. Natural gas, utility. Electricity, utility. Those things are going to be shut off in about 45 days for non-payment because the companies that buy and resell electricity and natural gas aren't going to be able to pay their bills. This is a domino effect that's going to take, you mentioned 10 years. Guineith, I'm thinking 20. I'm not trying to disagree with you. I've been saying that when this happens, it's going to be 20 years. I've been saying that for at least 10 years, at least. My number has not changed. This is really, really serious, and the GDP doesn't get it. They don't get it. And right now, Right now, doctors and nurses are going to work. They think that's a good thing to do. At some point, they're going to think it's a dangerous thing to do. And they're not going to go to work. And no one's going to make them go to work. Now what? So then you go to a hospital and they have 50% staff, 25% staff. And then those guys are going to get sick and they're not going to go to work. Pretty soon, people are going to realize that going to the hospital is a place where you're going to get really sick. My grandmother said it back in the I guess the 70s. She said, whatever you do, don't send me to the hospital because that's where people die. Don't send me there because I'll get sick and die there. She was right.
She was right. Yeah. And she might have been old enough to remember the Spanish flu pandemic of
absolutely.
1918.
Absolutely. My grandmother and grandfather came to this country from Italy, and I have the trunk, the steamer trunk, that they put everything in. One trunk. You take whatever you want. It's got to fit in this trunk. That's what they did. So they started over. And that's why I'm so angry about this, because my grandparents really had a hard row to hoe. And my parents did better. And my wife and I did better. And now it's all collapsing. All of the work and our children. So we have 4 generations of my family that worked really hard, didn't take vacations. I mean, my grandfather retired at about 80. 80. Not 65, 80. Worked really hard. And all of that work is going down the drain because of the nonstop greed, me first people who are in this country. And the filthy, disgusting rich. It's disgusting how much money they've accumulated. They don't need to accumulate that much money. We'll be right back. Plunge Protection Team is working really hard, scratching their heads, trying to figure out how come they can't fix the market. I'm talking about the Dow Jones Industrial Index. It's down 1,268 points right this moment, almost 6% down for the day. Class, this market is manipulated.
Opened there?
Yeah, well, it's been open for, let's see, it's been open for about since 9 o'clock, but it's down 1,268 points. So they've got some time to reverse it. It's erased all of yesterday's gains. The day before it was down just under 3,000 points. They cannot fix this. No matter what they do, they can't fix it. All the components of the Dow Jones Industrial Average are down except for one, Walmart. Walmart is up 7.03%. All the other ones are down for the year to date. Seriously. Guineith, what do you have? What would you like to share with us?
Okay, what I would like to share with people is the real magnitude of where this is headed. Okay, I think I mentioned earlier on that we're not just heading for the Stone Age, because people in the Stone Age were actually pretty clever. They could take a rock and turn it into an axe. Okay, or they could take a piece of volcanic glass, obsidian, and they could turn it into a knife or an arrowhead. And they could tan skins, they could track wildlife to, so they could go hunting, and they could domesticate animals like wolves and turn them into dogs. And in the later Stone Age, they could, domesticate horses, this sort of thing, which was kind of like the exit out of the Paleolithic age was, when people began to ride horses. They, pretty soon after that, everywhere around the world, within a few hundred years of people figuring out how to ride horses, they developed a bunch of other technology as well. And, this is it. We're not just heading there, because most people can't ride a horse. Most people can't tan a skin. Most people can't make an arrow. Most people, like I said, they can't tie their shoelaces. We are going to see a complete collapse of everything. they had, can I make a comment? It's not entirely negative, it's just a comment about one of the ads that was on. Would that be okay, Vincent? The one about growing vegetables?
Okay, yeah, if it's positive, you can, but Gwyneth, just so the class realizes, I bite my tongue sometimes, actually, when I hear ads that are not, that I don't think make sense. And I don't comment on them. But if it's a positive comment, yes, you can do that because it's a kiss of death. Commenting negatively on an advertiser will get us thrown off the air.
My advice is to put in a garden. I agree with that ad. I fully agree with that ad. Okay? You need to put in a vegetable garden and you should buy their seeds. Okay? Now, that said, I know from vegetable gardening myself, it takes years of experience to learn how to grow vegetables. I know that because I am a vegetable gardener. And it has taken me many, many years to really figure out how to grow vegetables, particularly in my climate, which is semi-arid. Okay? And I would say this year, for the first time, we're going to get something like a decent crop out of our vegetable garden. And I have been here for 7 years. Okay? And the first vegetable garden you put in, no matter how good your seeds are, you will probably lose the crop because you won't know what you're doing. And not only that, every pest under the sun will descend on your vegetable garden and they will eat it to smithereens. You'll get locusts, caterpillars, slugs, whatever, you name it. They'll all descend on your vegetable garden, and it'll be heartbreaking for you because you'll see them devour the whole thing. And then the predators will move in, okay, and they will begin to eat the bugs and the grubs and the caterpillars and the locusts. And you have to have the patience and the understanding to let nature take its course.
We'll be right back. Plus, on Friday, it'll be just me for 2 hours, and I'll be telling you some tips for preparedness and survival. I think this corona panic will cause, and these are my opinions, family stress. That means infighting within families. You know, people saying, I'm going to do this, and maybe the parents saying, no, you're not. And then young people saying, oh, yes, I am. I have a right to go out and do what I want to do and live my life. I believe that's kind of a scenario that's going to play out in a lot of households. I think neighbors are going to fight with neighbors because some neighbors will have reckless behavior, and those who are trying to be very careful are going to witness the wastefulness, the me-first attitude, and it's going to frost them. So I think there's going to be neighbors fighting with neighbors. I think there's going to be gasoline rationing. I think there's going to be food rationing. I think there's going to be more restricted movements, lockdowns, curfews, and possibly martial law. I believe there will be a financial collapse. And I believe that all is the precursor to the Second American Revolution. Some might call it a civil war. So I think that's in the cards. Guineith, do you think I've lost my mind?
No, I think at the moment that is all what you have said is more or less baked in the cake. And rationing is becoming a matter of course here in Australia. You know, the supermarkets have responded to the toilet paper thing by some stores saying maximum of 2 packets, some stores saying maximum of 1 packet. Other stores saying, the maximum of 1 bag of rice. Now, what's a bag of rice? A bag of rice can be anything up to 10 kilograms. So obviously people are going to buy the bigger bags before the littler bags. This is what people are doing. And, it's, oh my gosh, people, whatever you do, if I could give all the class out there one piece of advice that they should absolutely follow, you need a marketable skill. That means a skill that makes you valuable. If you can grow vegetables, if you can learn to grow vegetables, for instance, you can grow vegetables. If you can, learn to knit. Let's say you're more or less an invalid, and you can't do anything much outside of your chair. You're in a very, very bad situation. But maybe if you can knit and you can get a bunch of, balls of wool, and you can learn to knit or crochet, and you can make people hats and blankets, then you can trade them for food. I don't know. That's just an idea for somebody out there who's more or less housebound.
Well, that's what my grandmother did. My grandmother did exactly that. I still have, those winter hats that she would knit for me. I still have them from the 1950s. That's what she did.
That's right.
She made mittens. She knitted sweaters. She sewed. She got material, and she would make shirts and all kinds of clothes. That's what people did back then. My grandmother was not alone in doing that.
Yeah, people used to do that. And this is a skill that often people took up when they began to feel themselves not quite as healthy as they once were. Okay? And as for myself, I've managed to accumulate a lot of marketable skills over the years, and I can pretty well look after myself, bless the living God. But for example, this evening, I rode my horse for the very first time. I think I mentioned a few weeks ago that I bought an unbroken horse, and I've been working with it it's called groundwork, basically establishing trust, establishing, that I'm the leader of the herd and it needs to listen to me, and that this horse should love me and depend on me, and et cetera, et cetera. But this evening, for the very first time, I put a saddle on that horse. It wasn't the first time I saddled it, but for the first time, I got on its back and actually went somewhere on this horse. I'd been on its back before, I'd saddled it before, I put the bridle on it before, but this evening, for the very first time, I got on its back and gave that little kick and made it walk forward. And you know something, Vincent? That's a very, very special skill to be able to do that and to be able to do it safely without getting thrown every 3 seconds. Hardly anyone can do that. Mostly when people think about breaking in a horse, they think about behaving in such a way that would just about break your neck. I'm not interested in having my neck broken. Okay? The way that I break horses, hardly anyone does, but it produces an extremely reliable, extremely docile, but when that horse needs to go, it will be able to go, And that is a skill that I have. Not everybody has the same set of skills, but maybe in the future I'll be able to trade that skill for something that I need. You know what I mean? That makes sense, doesn't it? And this world that we're heading into, you have got to develop a set of skills that you're going to be able to trade for things that you haven't got and that you need. And whether it's weaving baskets or making hats or breaking horses, growing vegetables, it really doesn't matter. If you've got something that other people, a skill that other people are going to want, that is going to make you a useful member of the community, that is the best thing you can do, and that is going to give you the best chance of survival in this new emerging world, because we are going into an apocalyptic state, okay? We are going, and by apocalyptic, I mean you get your Bible out and you read the book of the Apocalypse. It's right at the end of the Bible. It's also called in a lot of Bibles the book of Revelation. And that gives you a pretty good idea of where we're headed, okay? And it's really, really bad. What I can see, okay, is that within 10 years that 90% of the population of the world are going to pass on. That's not only from the coronavirus. I don't want anybody out there saying that I say that 90% of the world's going to die from coronavirus. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the coronavirus and all the cascading effects the fact that people can't get their heart medications and psychiatric medications and blood pressure medications because they're all made in China. I'm talking about the fact that the guy perhaps who, like you say, runs the oil refinery, dies or is very ill and can't run the oil refinery, can't produce diesel fuel in your city. There's fuel oil to run all the people's heaters. It's the fact that, people are not going to have the skills to be able to light a campfire or a bonfire in their backyard and not burn down the whole neighborhood. It used to be when I was a girl, this is just 30 years ago, that everybody knew how to light a bonfire safely, and they would keep themselves warm. When Archie was alive, we used to light a bonfire every night out the back of our place. It was a rented house, but it was in a poor area, and to help to keep everybody's bonhomie up and to help to keep us warm, because the house didn't have, well, it had a gas fire, but the gas fire was expensive to run and we didn't have much money. So we'd light a bonfire out the back, and none of those bonfires ever went out of control. But they provided bonhomie and they provided a community spirit within the family, because we had a lot, my husband Archie, I had a lot of stepchildren. He had a lot of children. I only ever had 2 children, but I've got lots of stepchildren, okay, which are his children from previous marriages. And it created a community spirit within the family that helped to keep the family together. Does that make sense, Vincent?
It does. It does. Guineith, I'm looking at the news right now. You mentioned the blue team. This is from CBS News, national news here in the United States. CBS News on the internet saying that in precinct number 1 in New York City, there are 31 officers out sick as a result of the coronavirus.
Wow.
17 more.
I knew that would happen.
17 more are feeling symptoms. 31 plus 17, 48. That's almost 50 in one precinct. Now, what happens when the rest realize that they've been exposed to the ones who have tested positive for coronavirus in the precinct? And what about the prisoners? And what about those who are arrested? And what about those who are in the holding cell? And what about the judges? And what about the attorneys and the district attorneys and the assistant district attorneys and the clerks? The list is endless. This is really, really serious. Class, don't do anything stupid and get arrested, because if you get arrested, you're going to be confined with people who have the coronavirus, and it can kill you. Don't speed. Don't do anything to frost the blue team. That's my recommendation for right now.
Yep.
I'm so frustrated. I'm so frustrated.
And you might not have to do anything, because I've got far more exposure to this thing than you or I will ever have. So, you can't expect the protection of the angels of God if you've been misbehaving yourself. And that's just how it is. I'm talking on a spiritual level here, okay? I believe that if there's any copper out there who's been doing the right thing, that he will have God's angels protecting him, and that he will be able to go about his business safely and not get infected. But I believe that this coronavirus is going to take out a lot of blue team members, and it is going to be karma. We're operating on a spiritual level. Does that make sense, Vincent?
Yeah, and yes, it does. And here's what's happening, class. Christian County Health Department in Missouri, state of Missouri, suggested to all the churches, you need to not have services, postpone your services. Okay? Makes sense, right? Well, the big gun Praise the Lord, the James River Assembly of God. This place, I've been there. They've got a McDonald's in there. They've got athletic facilities in there. This is not a church. This is a business, in my opinion. Well, they've defied the recommendation. They're going to have services. They have a weekly attendance of around 15,000 people. God's going to protect them. So they think. They've defied the order. Wouldn't that be something if the James River Assembly of God has to make the news where they've infected 15,000 people? What would you do, class, if you were a member of that church and they said, no, we're going to have services and you have to attend? What would you do? We'll be right back. Maybe Piers Morgan is using some of the verbiage that we've been using here at USA Prepares. He says if coronavirus killed the young people like it does the old, we would have shut down society weeks ago. So at least the dumb, selfish millennials like Vanessa Hudgens can stop partying and wake up. So what's happening is he's talking about spring break and all these dumb millennials bending over and showing everybody their butts and doing all this risky behavior, pulling their tops off. I mean, all this drinking and orgies and these stupid people that very few parents would be proud of. They are saying, I'm important. Look at me. Look at my picture. Look at my selfie. Look. See how important I am. See what fun I'm having. They're just morons. And there's a gal who hosts the Today Show, and she is hosting it from her basement because she has a sore throat. So she's hosting. Her name is Savannah Guthrie. I don't watch TV, but she anchors the Today Show from her basement at her home after coming down with a mild sore throat and sniffles among the coronavirus panic. Years ago, I was on the Today Show. They did a special on technology in Virginia, and it was based on some technology that I built. And that was back in 1993. I might even still have that video somewhere, but it's on a VHS tape. That's my experience with the Today Show. Well, Guineith, it's very serious. People aren't paying attention. They think it's just going to just blow over. A radio broadcaster told me, I marked it on the calendar. He said it's all going to blow over in 3 weeks. And, I called him and I asked him if he had any plans for his broadcast. This was over a week ago. And he said he didn't know what he was going to talk about. And I said, I can help you. I'd like to talk about preparing, what you need to do right now to get ready before the panic really gets in full swing. He didn't want to talk about it. So what does that mean to me? That means to me that I don't have as many friends as I used to have. And I find it really offensive. And he may actually take action against, if he hears what I'm saying, he may actually take action against me for saying this. But how do you trust someone who is not willing to warn their audience? How can you trust someone because this is so serious? Let's talk about politics instead. Let's talk about the theories surrounding on how this got started. That's not important. What's important right now is surviving it. And I still say it, and I maintain it. People who are wasting time, and I'm sure it's in many, many households, trying to get these young people to stay home, to say, look, you can't go out because you're going to infect mom and dad and grandmother and grandfather. You can't go out and do stupid things. It's serious. And yet they go, yeah, but I have a right to do it. Okay, well, what do you say? You say, you know what? I love you, but if you do that and you leave, you can't come back. You can't come back because we're not going to let you kill your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather. We're not going to let you do it. It's reckless. It's happening all over the world. Guineith?
Yeah, I would agree with you. My son wanted to go to a party about a week ago. I said, I forbid you. I explained to him why. He said, yeah, but there's only going to be a few people there. And I said, I don't care. I forbid you from going to that party. You could sneak out, but you would lose honor with me. And that was how I dealt with that. Now, another thing I wanted to quickly cover, because I'm aware that we've only got a few minutes left. I have people that I know in this area, friends of mine, who have bought land and houses in this area as a retreat location, okay? And I want to say to everybody who has bought lands and houses in remote areas as retreat locations, you should be at your retreat location now, okay? I am astounded at the number of people, at the number of empty retreat locations in this area at the moment. I know the people who own the land. I know the people who own the houses, and they're not there. They haven't gone to their retreat locations yet. And I would urge everybody who has bought real estate so that they could get out in the event of an emergency and have somewhere to go. You should be at your retreat location now. And if you are not, then you're a fool, because they are locking down towns and cities in the United States now. The police are setting up roadblocks, and particular towns and cities in the United States. It was reported by Alex Jones on the Alex Jones Show yesterday that they were doing this in towns around Austin, in Texas. And, you know, if you don't leave now, if you are now at your retreat location now, you may not be able to get there. So you need to leave. Does that make sense, Vincent?
Yes, Guineith, that makes sense. And that's the discussion we've been having off the air with people who we care about. We've been saying, you have to leave right now. Not tonight, right now. And yet there are people who won't do it.
Tomorrow may be too late.
That's exactly right. Guineith, thank you very much. May God help us.